Hello and welcome to Everything But the Scores with Danny Jolles. My name is Danny Jolles. Today is September 6th, 2022. Happy Labor Day. Thanks for tuning in. If you never watched this show before, welcome. This is about everything that happens off the field, everything but the scores, if you will. So all the stories that happen around sports that have nothing to do with what happens on the field. If you love sports, it's all the stories they don't cover. If you've never watched sports before, you're going to be able to keep up. I keep you involved. Football's back, everybody. What a time. We made it. We made it through the desert. Subscribe, rate, comment, tell a friend. When you send me stories, send them nicely.
Who's sending mean stories?
Sometimes people send them like, why haven't you talked about this? And I'm like, So it was like,
I do think you could have another researcher on your team, you know?
Sure, Jess, you want to pay for another researcher on the team? Who's the researcher on the team?
I just always, I've said for a long time, I feel like you should have somebody researching to making sure that all these things are accurate and whatnot.
They're very accurate.
Well, I feel like any of the ones that you find, you've done extensive research just finding stories. I mean, I'll throw a couple your way.
You'll throw some, and we've done a couple, and I will say that Jess, you don't even know. And by the way, before we get into it,
coming up with a defense, and you're like, wait, you don't know.
So first off, joining us as always, co-producer, co-host, man who makes it happen. No cop for everybody.
Hello.
Also joining us, my wife. You know her as my wife. She's
That's
my wife.
all I am.
Jess Sonnenfeld, everybody.
Jolles.
Jess Jolles. We changed it.
Hello, Danny, and thank you for having me in my own home.
Oh, Jess, you got it in again.
Always.
Jess, this is the skeleton crew. This is the crew that happens when we try to film one on Labor Day. Mm-hmm. This is what happens, and I love it.
Well, the skeleton crew is really you.
That's
when
true.
you think you're going to do it by yourself.
That is true.
And you're going to do it by yourself.
I was not going to put Noah through this, and then Noah was like,
but I'm here for
put
me through a
fun,
wonderful time.
That's what I like to hear.
No putting through. This is a great time.
And I was like, I'm available.
You don't even know the stories I don't do. The stories I research.
No, I don't, because I don't follow sports at all.
Michael Jordan's son went on a date with Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. People are running that story around the internet. It's not real. Not real. That's bad. That's the kind of journalism we don't have on this show. That's a story that was floating that some people sent me, and I was like,
Well, why did it get started? What kind of rumor gets started like that?
They were photographed together, but they weren't photographed in a sexual way. They were just photographed like hanging out.
Well, but is that weird that they're hanging out?
It's weird, but I think it's a stretch to say they're hooking up.
Wasn't it like that when Justin Timberlake was like photographed with like some strange woman, and everyone's like, he's cheating, and then they were like, well, he's like, that's my sister.
Yes,
for sure.
Well, but Justin Timberlake also in that time, there was a time, and he did publicly apologize because he was getting cozy with some lady on a set. Remember that?
I do remember that.
See, so can't trust anybody.
I feel like this is not the first time you've swung Justin Timberlake into this podcast.
Definitely not. First off, second. That was Noah who got him in, Justin Timberlake. If I'm going to get somebody in, it's going to be like a Jake Gyllenhaal who happens to have the same birthday as me.
Whoa.
Wow.
We don't talk about that enough.
I know. If I weren't married,
One time I was with one of those like comments you make that you say and then you're like, oh, that's one of the stupidest things I've ever said in my entire life. One time I was walking and Maggie Gyllenhaal walked by me. Mm-hmm. And then about 2 minutes later, Jake Gyllenhaal walked by me. And I turned to my friend and I was like, what are the odds that you would see that's dead? And then I was like, they're probably meeting up. They're probably going someplace together. Mm-hmm. They probably are.
Oh, that's interesting because in my head I was like, well, why weren't they walking together if they were going to the same place?
They were probably meeting up.
Maybe
at
they were
that
meeting,
place.
yeah.
But I was like, in my mind, I was like, what are the odds you'd see both Gyllenhaals?
Yeah.
Rogan. Where is Maggie? Has anyone heard from her?
Yeah, she directed something kind of recently, I think.
Oh, good. Well, all of our usual questions to open we can't use.
Why not?
We know your answers. Did you play sports?
Track, yeah.
You see?
Even when you answered, you're like, yeah, track.
Track.
Those are my medals.
Those are my medals. Yeah, your medals behind me when you ran the marathon. Mm-hmm. And I heroically picked her up. That story isn't talked about enough. With COVID, in the throes of COVID, picked her up.
Yeah, because nobody else was there, though. Nobody rooted me on. Nobody cheered.
And who came through in the darkness?
Who came through in the
The man himself, Danny
Who
Jolles.
was at home, sick,
Tracking me on my
With COVID.
locations.
tracking you on your locations, at home going, will I get through COVID? It was day 7. I was completely over it. But I technically wasn't allowed out of or no, it was like day 4. It was like, I was still, but I would,
Yeah,
I was,
yeah. It
but
was,
I
it
did,
was
I
like
had
day
done,
5 or something. It's
but
not
I had
like-
done my like,
You
with
were better.
COVID. Yeah, I was in my like, I think I'm good. Minus the 2-month cough everybody gets.
Yeah.
But like, I knew, but I was tracking.
Should we
her.
talk about how I'm somehow?
No, don't say it on air. You'll jinx
Okay.
yourself.
Well, it's been
But
so
both of you.
long.
Yeah,
You've never had it?
never.
Me neither.
Look at us.
Do you have food allergies?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
I will say,
Yes.
just the more people
Okay.
I tell people that theory to, they're like, no, that doesn't hold up.
But wait a second. But it's a
And for
study
those of you that
did
don't
come
know
out.
Jess's theories,
No, it's not my theory. It's a study that came out from the NIH, which is that like people with food allergies are 50% less likely to like contract COVID because of the way that their like receptors work or whatever. And I think I fall into that category. Okay, either that or I'm genetically superior. Minus my food allergies.
yeah.
I was going to say that too. I also have
Yeah,
red
yeah,
hair,
don't
so I don't
do-
know
yeah,
if
yeah,
genetic
yeah.
superiority.
No. Maybe I just know. Maybe I know something you don't. Maybe tree nuts are really bad for everybody, not just me.
I don't think so. I think every doctor ever is like, nuts are pretty good.
Yeah, people who.
Although peanuts are such a scam.
Well, peanuts I can have.
Yeah.
So let's not
Peanuts are
peanuts.
such everybody's like, peanuts are good for you, and then I have like 2 peanuts and I'm like, I've never felt more bloated and disgusting.
Yeah.
You look at the calories, it's ridiculous. Peanut butter
Actually,
in
I think
particular.
peanuts or peanut butter, like there's some like mold can grow in peanuts or something like that.
It's ridiculous. Peanuts have been running a scam for years.
I need to
Nobody's talking
research
about
it.
it.
Far
I
too
could also
expensive
just be
too.
starting
Every
rumors.
nut is so expensive, and I don't. Every time I'm like, I want to buy like peanuts or almonds or like pistachios as like a snack, I get to the store and I'm like, oh, it's cool that these are all $40.
It's insane. I mean, nuts.
Where I went to college, just a quick shout out to Price Chopper. They had the best honey roasted peanuts, the generic brand, their brand, the Price Chopper brand of honey roasted peanuts. Best in the game. If anybody happens to be in the Saratoga Springs area, upstate New York,
if you're in the
you've
upstate New York,
if you've heard of a Price Chopper, go out and get those peanuts and send them to me.
You miss them?
Yeah, they're so
You
good.
miss them?
They're so good.
You were chasing that cream cheese for forever. What was it?
No, cottage cheese, Friendship
cheese.
cottage cheese. There's only one place in LA that I can finally find it. But for the 9 years I've been living in Los Angeles, are you from the East Coast?
No, from Arizona.
Oh, do you know what Friendship brand
No,
cottage
he
cheese
doesn't know.
is?
Nobody knows.
Do you eat cottage cheese or are you anti the texture?
No, I love cottage cheese.
Okay.
Amazing.
Really?
See,
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
great.
hate it.
Okay.
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
Okay, next time you're
Disgusting.
here, I'm going to give you a tub of 1% Friendship cottage cheese.
And that's friendship.
That's Friendship. The only kind I can get in LA though is the whipped version, which I do like. But Friendship cottage cheese, you can't get it anywhere on like in LA. I mean, I used to email the company. It's like, hey, can we get distribution in California, Los Angeles specifically?
What'd they say?
You know, they didn't respond, but here it is in the Gelsons near us.
Wow. And you know Gelson's, and this is going to be very area specific. This is area specific humor all around. But the Gelson's.
Well, but it depends which area, honestly, because Price Chopper, that's
I
like
was going to say we've hit
that's
everybody's
a
area.
518. Then that's the area code.
I understand.
Okay. Then Friendship is all East Coast, which is where I'm from, 516. Fun, 518, 516. And then out here,
571. Where I'm from.
Noah.
520.
Stop
What?
it. Okay, a lot of regional humor, but we're really hitting all the targets.
We have to.
We are.
And yet, this is about sports, so we do have to get to our first story. So,
Should we talk about this? We could talk about the teams in each region, because that's how sports works.
what are you talking about?
Your expression.
The teams,
What are you talking
teams,
about?
It's all like regional. You know, you have a team from where you're from.
For the love of God, let's start the show. Hit the theme song. Good Lord.
You're a number one fan, so you know the stats. Heard all the pundits talking, so you know enough of that. Maybe it's time to hear some crazy folks chat about all the other stuff that's behind the net. But maybe you don't care about playing ball, and you want to hear the gossip whether big or small. Maybe it's time to hear some funny folks talk about what goes on when the batter don't walk. Maybe you'd like to hear a little more. Maybe you don't even care about sports. Either way, go on and buckle up your shorts. Cause this is everything but the scores with Danny Jolles. Yeah, doggity.
And we're back. Those of you at home wondering if the cottage cheese conversation stopped upon the cameras going off, it did not. We continued onward.
Yes. Well, when you love something, you know.
Guys, let's talk about what's really important in sports. Football's back.
Yay.
Football is back. Our long desert is over. We finally have the sport that starts the good sports coming back. Football's back, specifically college football, and it was awesome. It was such a fun weekend. I recommend everybody at home just watch some videos of the stands being full at college football games. Mm-hmm. First time in 2 years that it's been like guilt-free. Last year was like full, but it was like, are we all dying? Are we all killing each other? Now it's like, hey, we did it. It was a really beautiful weekend. And Jess,
yeah,
you didn't have a football team at your school.
No,
I didn't have a football team in my school.
The Honey Nuts or whatever they're.
we were the Thoroughbreds, actually.
Ooh,
It's a good name.
we were the Violets. I mean, that's not any better.
Sure, no, yeah. I don't know. We were like horse. It was like
Yeah.
Thoroughbred. Okay.
Yeah.
I tried out for the riding team. Did I talk about that last time?
No. Had you ever rode?
No.
Well, that seems. So how'd it go?
Actually, so here's the thing. They needed people for a certain division, so they would have people that like try out for like the lowest division, like on the college equestrian team, because that was like it was harder, I guess, to get people who would just like sign up to be on the riding team. I don't know. A friend of mine made me try out. I can either tell you that I was super allergic to the horses and didn't make the team, or that I didn't make the team and was no, it doesn't make sense. Can you cut that? I'm just trying to be able to say.
We can't cut that.
I know.
we cut things that can't be said. We don't cut just you bumbling through a sentence.
I did not make the team, and I was allergic to the horses.
Well, I do imagine that did play a factor if they were just trying to fill spots and they were like, well, on top of it all, she literally can't get on a horse.
I was on the horse.
But then...
They didn't know. I went home and I died.
Yeah. What happened when you just got like rashy?
Oh my God. I was like completely like swollen and hard and sneezing. It was horrible. I'm actually very allergic to horses. I know.
Wow.
I know.
I grew up with horse farms near me when I was
Sure.
growing up. Did your college have a college football team?
Yeah, well, so I didn't go there, but the U of A, they've got their their team. Yeah, that their basketball department is kind of like the one, like
Right.
that's the big one, but they had football too.
Well, so there's a tradition in college football that I think is, and college sports in general, which I think is bad, which is rushing the court when you have a big upset. This is
Who rushes the court?
the fans.
Okay.
So when you win a big game, everybody runs onto the field, and it's kind of went from this thing of like it's not supposed to happen to now like very openly you'll see the cops being like just peacefully come on down, which is crazy because there's other players on the field for the losing team that now have to duck 1,000 kids running on.
Is this only a college?
Yeah, really only in college.
Okay.
So this past weekend, Old Dominion University upset Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Classic. Fans were in on the field, and a camera caught this exciting moment. And you're going to want to circle the guy, that guy right there, running on the field, and boom! Leveled by
Just
the
got trucked.
absolute Virginia Tech player, not having it. Get out of my way.
Oh, he leaned his shoulder into it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Blasted him.
That's funny.
I've never seen it in my
Do you
days.
think it was on purpose?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The way he tucked in. So
Yes.
Virginia Tech lost.
Virginia Tech lost.
Okay, so then that's more
Oh,
understandable. Like,
sorry, Arbor. Sorry.
Yes, it's a tough loss. It's a huge upset. College football, the way college football works, you basically can't lose a game if you're going to win the championship. You can't lose. So their season is basically over right in that
bummer.
moment.
Didn't it just start?
Yes, but you can't lose a game.
wow, what a bummer way for that.
How is that possible?
Hey, welcome back. Goodbye.
There's only 4 teams in college sport, in college football, only 4 teams make the playoffs. So you Harper, I'm literally just battling this dog off camera. I don't know if it's catching.
I know it's
Probably
because
won't.
I accidentally kicked her because she was underneath me. I didn't realize. I'm sorry.
And now she's practicing for her DJ gig later.
Of course.
It's always this one spot that she goes. And this is not being caught on camera in any way, so this can't be that very interesting. But those you can hear it, is our dog losing her mind on a spot on the carpet for no reason. Yeah, Harper, thank you. Yeah, I've never seen that before. The player's name, Connor Blumrick, who apologized.
Okay, I was gonna say, did he get in trouble or like?
You know, they're not. The thing is, they're not supposed to be on the field. He shouldn't have to weave his way through fans to get off the field.
Okay,
So technically, that kid should not be there.
sure.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, you watch it, and it's a clear lean-in. Boom. And he folds.
Yeah.
That kid.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for the guy who ran on the field at all.
That's
See, I
the
feel like he's like kind of like getting out of the way a little bit. No, is that not the case?
I think Connor admitted his thing. I don't think they're going to suspend him. I don't think he's in any real trouble. I think that, like, because again, he should. I think he had to issue an apology. It's like we ran into each other. I think his apology was very like, we ran into each other. Shouldn't have happened.
Okay.
Because on the same thing, it looks like he leans in. He could also be defended that, like, hey, I knew we were going to collide, so I was just trying to keep myself safe and not, like,
Yeah.
whatever.
And I'm sure he walked off the field being like, I hit some kid, but we kind of collided and no one's going to catch it. And he just happened to have been caught on camera. But he got caught on camera. Yes, Jess?
Did something similar happen to me recently?
Oh. I mean, not really, but I hear what you're
Not
saying.
really exactly, but I did.
Jess and I played softball.
Oh, that's right.
Did I talk about it in here?
You mentioned
Yeah.
you mentioned it briefly.
I
mean, I've never heard of this
I
before.
talked about it because I was like, literally, we got there. One rule: don't get hurt.
No injuries. Danny,
No.
literally, we were walking out the door. He goes, Jess, number 1 rule. And I go, have fun? And he goes, no.
Does he take out your mouthpiece? Just have fun.
Well, actually, luckily, I was wearing my retainer because otherwise, I think I would have chipped a tooth because my teeth clattered like so hard when I was hit. But I was
was a
wearing
solid
my like Invisalign.
Playing the outfield. Those are not sports. If you're in the outfield of a softball game, baseball game, anything, and you are running towards a ball, and you think anybody is near you, we yell the phrase, "I got it." And a man, not named Jess, ran to that ball and over Jess and never once uttered, "I got it," which is unacceptable. That is maybe the only rule of softball if you're playing casual is
Now, I didn't know that rule because I don't play.
no, it's also not your job to do that. But he, clearly
Oh,
somebody who
sorry.
just
No, it's okay.
quit moving around.
Sorry.
That's what I'm here for.
He ran you over.
Yeah. I mean, I flew and then rolled and like landed on all 4s.
Ouch.
And then I was like, okay, I'm okay. Okay, I'm okay. Okay.
I walked
Let's
out
go.
quite slowly, trying to keep it positive. I think I got you very positive. I was like, whoopsie. I really tried to keep it like positive and fun.
Yeah, not like just the one thing I said when we were
Sort
leaving.
of like, well, no, I was more like, if you were hurt, it really isn't your fault. As much as I like
you.
want to make fun of you, like it was not your fault. It is 100% on that dude. He seemed very apologetic.
He was very sorry.
And
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
were
This
not
was
hurt.
not like
If
no,
you'd been
no.
hurt, I would have been like, you got to be kidding me, dude. But you were not hurt, so I just sort
He
of
was
that's
the largest player on the team, though.
monster.
So then he has to know that it's like, hey, I'm going to be big and moving around very fast.
He
He
clearly
was
had-
very. Yeah.
it's
He was like, "I'm
literally-
so sorry.
I
Like,
cannot
I should have." He
stress-
was like,
I cannot
totally,
stress
I
enough-
played before. I should have done this."
Day one of playing, I didn't even play baseball that long. day one, it's like, hey, above all other, like, hey, you run the first, then second, then third. This is how we run the bases. And if you're running towards the ball, you yell, I got it. This is day one of baseball. If you play baseball more than a day, you know these things. You never did?
No. Well, I think I played in 4th grade, but I don't think I actually made it to any games. I think I just went to the practices or whatever. But I was not really into sports. But the thing was that like I was in the outfield.
Let's keep that mic somewhat near us, Jess.
Sorry, I was in the outfield.
We had thought at the same time. I was looking at the levels. I was like,
This is why I looked over here and I was like, what? I was like, why is she so quiet? And I was like, oh, because her microphone's out here.
Oh, sorry, I don't do this for a living. But I was like walking backwards and he was walking this way. You know what I mean? So he saw me going. Yeah, I was walking backwards like this. He was walking forward. So I was like, what are we doing?
Gotta yell, I got it.
And that's why I run and I don't play contact sports.
These two. This guy did not yell, I got it.
There's nothing to get there.
There's nothing to get. Well, I think they're supposed to clear a path for the players to get off. They didn't. Either way, player didn't get in trouble, but I've never seen a dude get leveled like that before. And quite frankly, a great way to start the college football season. Seeing a fan get taken out like that, particularly a guy like that, looks like a bro.
For sure.
Danny, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, just as someone who's more of a casual sports fan, for someone whose first time would be going to a live football game, what do you think would be more enjoyable and fun, going to a NFL game or a college football game? What do you think would have the most fun fan experience?
Oh, college football. College football. Like if you go to like a USC game out here, or like in particular like Florida. I mean these schools, like they're singing. There's so much more to it. NFL is very like. NFL's very fun, but LA teams, it's not the same. It's like you got to not go in LA in general. Like even USC, I don't think quite carries the punch.
Yeah,
that you get from like,
Roll Tide. Even I know that. Alabama,
like a stadium of people. They're all rooting for the same thing. There's gonna be songs, gonna be things. They're gonna sing "Sweet Home Alabama." Like it's just like that's the like electric. Energy. And college football stadiums are massive.
But the thing is though, like I don't feel like if I were like as a not even casual fan, and if I were to go to a game, like I think I would want to go to an NFL game because at least I have a team that I'd be like rooting for. But if I were going to a college game, I have no affiliation to any of those colleges.
Well, sure. So if you went to a Commanders game with me, yes, we would root for our team.
Yeah.
But like, let's say we're not going to one of my team's games.
Well, I'm not going in that case. If I'm going to go to a game, I think I would choose to go to the NFL. I'd go to a game where I could be invested in some capacity.
If you are a non-invested fan, obviously if you are invested in a team, that is the most fun thing to go to. Going to a home game for your team is always going to be the top experience. But if you can't go to your team...
Well, but then that's the answer.
I actually think it was between college football and pro was his question. It was not about the home team.
But if it's going to... But if you're going to choose one... If there's one best experience, I feel like it would be to go to the home... Like to go to a team that you can be invested in to some degree.
So even though I do not believe it was his question, my ranking goes...
Okay, yeah.
A team you're invested in, number one, at home. Pro or college is going to be awesome. You're going to be a part of it. Number two... College football team you don't care about, just going to experience it. Number three, NFL game you don't care about. Those are my rankings.
Gotcha.
But college football is it's just so fun. I mean, it's just like
the energy just seems really tight.
It's really tight, and I can't tell if it's all of us just being like, "Oh my god, it's back," because like college football in particular without fans was weird.
Yeah,
NFL pretty quickly adjusted to like, yeah, sure.
I thought it was like so fascinating when there was like no fans and stuff.
I hated it. The only one I enjoyed was UFC.
Yes.
I thought UFC...
Yeah.
Because you could hear the hits harder. You could hear their corners.
Yes.
It was very fun.
When the leg kicks in like empty UFC would just be like these like... You just be like, oh!
Yeah.
They just had to hurt so much.
Yeah. As someone who did martial arts, that's always been the thing. Like how many leg kicks they can take. Because I've fought and... taken leg kicks. I can get about 3 solid ones before I'm like, I don't like this sport at all anymore.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And they're taking so many.
So many.
I also did like jujitsu one time in high school.
How'd that go for you?
It didn't go great. I mean, it was fine, honestly. I had to wear like the gi and everything, and I did that, and I was a lifeguard, so just throwing in my other sports.
Rogue. Let's do our second and last story. Oh, hey there. During this break in the action, I just wanted to throw out there that this is the perfect opportunity to write a comment or subscribe, or if you're listening, you can just give us a rating and whatever you want. Just this is the moment where during this break, since we don't have a Patreon or anything, this is the moment to do something like that. It'd mean a lot. All right, back to the action.
But I know where they're from: Buffalo and LA.
Can you name one player on either of the teams?
Can I have a clue?
Any player?
No, like is there somebody that I should know?
Well, the Rams won the Super Bowl. So any single human involved in the Super Bowl, you'd probably be correct.
Oh.
You need to hear it. And we're back. Quick question about Jess, which did ask a great question, which is when does NFL come back? And the first NFL game is Thursday night, and it will be the Buffalo Bills versus the Rams. Going to be a great game. Ozzy Osbourne doing the halftime show.
Wow.
Throwback Thursday.
Jeez.
He's still going.
Sure.
I saw him live. What an experience that was, like 2
Why?
years ago.
Was it rough?
In the beginning it was. His voice was not warmed up. I will say this, though. Couldn't have been more excited to be performing for an audience, and that felt great. Like him being jazzed to be there.
Was it post-pandemic or
pre?
Okay.
This is like 2017, 2018.
Oh, okay.
But like his voice in the beginning, you're like, man, you do not sound good. And then he went backstage for like 10 minutes.
Oh, interesting.
And I think it was to like get something, because it was really cold out. I think it was to get something for his throat, like a tea or something. Came back and he sounded way better.
Did you hear The Weeknd just canceling a show?
I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane move. I mean, he must have lost. Either he lost his voice to a degree I can't even imagine, or it's like, can you imagine?
No.
Because
A joke in. I'm like, hey, I think this isn't going.
70,000 people have come out.
Wait, was it during
Three songs into his set,
Everyone
he just
was
was
there.
like, "Hey guys, we'll figure out refunds. I can't sing." And everybody was like very confused because I don't think he sounded bad yet, but he felt it was going.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you cut your losses there as opposed to like ruining your voice for like 3 more shows or something.
I don't think that's how voices. I don't think you're going to further ruin it.
I think you can.
I also think like there's got to be a plan of like, hey, someone doing backup, can you help me out? Or like, I don't know. All I know is.
But I feel like you'd still want a refund, even if he wasn't going to perform the rest of the con.
Yes.
So that's a purchase. Like the Weeknd's company purchases that stadium for that show. So to refund everybody, that's going to be a bazillion dollar loss.
Well, but I would imagine that it would also be like a very bad PR situation if they were like, here, let's put this backup singer there, and then everybody's like, well, I paid for a show for the weekend.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no way to.
I don't know. It's got to be a solution.
If it was bad enough to cancel mid-show, I feel like, just my perspective, that should have been clocked beforehand. And you just, like, if your voice feels weird warming up, cancel the show beforehand. I mean, it's a day of, it's bad, but it's not as bad as we're here, you do 3 songs, and you're like, what are we doing?
Or I'm going to say something so controversial, because I have
careful, Justice is
no
recorded.
soul. I know. And I'd be like, just put on the track. Like, people do that enough,
that's not
right?
that controversial.
Yeah.
Well, but I didn't want people to say, I don't want people to be like, oh my God, she has no, like, I don't know, creative integrity or something.
Listen, we all lived through the Ashley Simpson.
Yes, exactly. And nobody wants that, for sure.
I think we've all grown as a society now where
but there's no way that, like, every concert, every single time you go, it's like, this is them singing.
100%.
It's like, why couldn't they just do that? Why wouldn't there ever be, like, there should always be a backup plan for that?
I agree.
Sort of
There's
situation.
got to be a backup plan. There's got to be a way for him to take a song off. I mean, like what Ozzy did, like figure it out.
Yeah.
There's got to be a figure out. It seems like he just
Even I could go up and do Danny's jokes. Just kidding. Nobody would want that. They'd want a refund for sure.
Do one right now.
Our second story. She couldn't do it, but there is talk.
I totally could.
There's always talk of Jess going up at like a show or mic and doing 5 minutes of my stuff, just to experience how quickly you would bomb with it.
Horrible. No,
I
you're
mean,
horrible. I think I'd be fine. But I have to do it as Danny. Like I'd be like,
You would fall apart in 2 seconds.
I think it would be funny first maybe 10, 15 seconds, and then when people are like, okay, let's see.
for sure.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. You would crumble immediately.
I'm trying to think which joke I would like do. I don't know.
In our second story, so basketball, we say basketball isn't happening right now, but basketball is technically happening. Europeans are playing.
Oh.
Euro basketball. They do this big Euro basketball tournament every couple of years? Question mark? Not even sure. Either way, they do this thing. It's countries versus countries. A bunch of NBA players are over there. And one thing about it is that it's chaos when they do it, and it's always problems. Every year I feel like there's problems with this thing. Every year there's an issue. So this past weekend, Turkey took on Georgia. And a player, NBA player, Furkan Korkmaz, this is the professional NBA player, is playing in there. He gets into a kerfuffle on the court. He then gets kicked out of the game. He goes backstage, or through the tunnel. 3 Georgia players and security guards attack him and fight him. There is a full-on fight.
Wait, why?
Because he was fighting with them on the court. So they just attacked him in the tunnel. So he fought them off because he's an absolute monster. But now they're like, the Turkish team's like, we're leaving unless we see the footage. So they're hunting for this footage of apparently this guy getting attacked by 5. They say it was 5 on like 2 to 3. He had people with him, but like a full-on street fight broke out.
Just getting jumped by these people.
Getting jumped. And it's like, why is that happening?
What was the altercation about on the court?
He got fouled hard.
No reason at all for to be.
First off, no reason.
Wait,
ever
the guy who was jumped was.
He was the one who got fouled hard, but then he got in the face of the other player.
Oh.
And they sort of did like it's very European, where like they get like this. They do this like head to head thing, and I'm always like, it seems insane to me. I don't.
Yeah.
That's like something in soccer they do a lot, where they're like constantly just like
like the head pushes.
Yeah, and I'm
that.
like, what is that? What is that instinct in fighting?
That's funny because it feels very animalistic, like rams.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
I agree.
animals do that.
Yeah. And they just but we're humans, so we don't do that normally.
Sure. And it's not that I was forgetting that or anything.
No, but it's crazy. You're
acknowledging.
correct. It is like insane when they do it, and I'm always like, why are we doing that? But they did one of these. That was it, though. And then they yelled at each other a bunch. I didn't think it was, but they're like, I mean, it's quite the situation.
So there's no footage of it.
There's got to be footage somewhere, and they're trying to get it. So this will probably be something we return to next week
So
when the footage comes out. This is what I'm waiting for. But I was like, this is worth talking about. I've never.
How has this become like such a public thing? Like, did people see it?
Well, Turkey came out, the country he plays for, and was like, hey, this happened. This happened in the locker room, and we're not playing any more games until we get the footage and we talk about what happened here. And we know that we have like our players' safety. This is an NBA player worth he's playing for millions of dollars. This is this is his, off time gig. This is like when like any athlete gets hurt. It's like when they're not on the court. It's like that's millions of dollars they're losing potentially. So this is a not small thing for him to get attacked. It seems like he's fine, but they're just like, no, we're not going to play more. So they came out and were like, there was an incident.
I see.
And then they were like, we want the footage. Was sort of their request.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
It's so tough.
Let's go. I mean, I hate to hear it, but let's go. I can't wait to see this footage.
Yeah.
A real fight like that doesn't happen.
No, it looks like he's thinking. He's got.
No, I just think it's so. I mean, the unfortunate part is like with how like is that obvious that like you just see smoke coming out of my ears. I'm like,
Well, I mean, I know the faces, just like when you were saying before. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, it's like with how crazy like just the world stage is in general.
Yes.
Like now, just like even in sports, like countries are like at odds. It's like, oh man.
I know. Everybody's so great. Well, there was a Russian-Ukraine player that played against each other in tennis, and the Ukraine player wouldn't shake the Russian player's hand. That was a whole little quick thing that I was like, I saw, and I was like, seems heavy for the
Yeah.
pod because it's just like. But I get all parties in that.
What if the footage comes out and it turns out the guy was alone and he fought them all off like Batman style?
I think there's a chance that is the footage. There's a chance this is a NBA athlete that they attacked. This is the kind of human that would fight off everybody by himself.
Is there any chance that there's like some more to this? Why they won't like release the footage or like?
There's a chance.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the kind of thing he would lie about. Because to say this is to be like, it's a big accusation. I don't think he would say it if it isn't true. I think there's a chance the fight is underwhelming.
Sure.
I think there's
Yeah.
a chance like a couple punches are thrown in and
For
they do the
sure.
classic like, oh, come on.
Who was back there? So they're going through the tunnel. Just okay. So they're on the court,
They're on the court.
and then they finish the game.
No. This
Okay.
is mid-game. He gets kicked out.
The guy. Okay, so the guy that was fouled was kicked out.
Because they did the boom.
Okay, so the other guy that he did the boom with, still on the court.
No, he also got kicked out.
So they were going out together.
Yes.
So they were both walking through the same tunnel at the same time.
Separate tunnels.
Separate
usually.
tunnels, I believe. But I don't know. I haven't seen. There's no footage of it because nobody knew an incident was going to occur.
Because here's the thing that I'm trying to figure
But
out.
it wasn't the other player. It was 3 Georgia players that weren't playing in the game.
Then they
So how would they be? Right? Okay, but like, were they just lurking in the other team's tunnel?
Yeah.
How'd they get there?
I mean, they probably have access to the whole place.
It's the whole thing. There's tunnels underneath the stadium.
What,
If you ever
what
been-
was that fight that was threatened? Like was it Chris Paul and somebody where they're like, I'll
one
see
of the
you in
greatest,
yeah.
one of the greatest inside the NBA moments of all time. Chris Paul versus Blake Griffin.
Yeah, that's who it
Blake
was.
Griffin and they got a fight on the court, and then they were trying to get in the lock. Chris Paul was trying to get in the locker room to fight Blake Griffin, and police were called.
Yeah, because they were like on the court. They were like, I'm
Yes.
gonna meet you back, and then they like ran back because they're like, I'll meet you back there. Like
Yeah.
we're handling this off, and then it was a whole.
And then inside the NBA, which is Shaq and Charles Barkley, laughed at them for 30 minutes straight, just giggling hysterically.
Why?
Being like, first off, being like, in our day, if somebody had dared come in our locker room, we would have killed them. So one, you're out of your, like, the fact that basically police were called. The fact that they were like, I mean, they just were being like, help, I'm Chris Paul, he's trying to get backstage.
Hello, police.
He's trying to get me, like,
A
just
fight
being
I
like,
instigated
what, like,
is-
just like, what
has
are
negative
we-
consequences.
Just
Got
like,
it, got it,
The
got it,
amount
got
of
it.
posturing and ridiculousness was
I
what they
see.
were making fun of, and it is truly them laughing in a way where you're like, that incident is so underwhelming because it's now known as the incident where Charles and Shaq laughed at them for 30 minutes, being like the biggest bunch of losers. I mean, they just were like, how are you not? Either fight or don't. But
Yeah, because the whole buildup was like, oh my gosh, something's going to happen, and all the coverage is it's like it's at a standstill. They're hiding in their lockers, like nobody's. It's like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
yes, they came to their locker room.
But is that also because security's ramped up since like their day? Shaq and
Yes. Shaq and Charles back in the day. First off, Shaq and Charles fought each other on the court back in the day.
sure, of course.
And also, like, in general, like, yes, there was much more, like, if we had an incident, there would be a little bit more of a kerfuffle backstage. But also, like, or there wouldn't be. Or there would be whatever. But, like, the idea of security and police having to show up. Cause
It just feels like they're probably already there.
They are.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody was back there. Nobody saw the footage. It is, again, only known, in my mind, as what made them laugh for 30 minutes straight. And it is,
I see.
for the record, one of the funniest. Like, just seeing two people laugh that hard at a story that they're saying very serious. Like, it's like, it goes with one being like, they're trying to get back, blah, blah. And then seeing them come back and these two just giggling hysterically and mocking them. It's how I know that incident. But yeah, there's fights, between athletes off
Yeah.
field all the time. But it is rare. And a jump like this, to jump a guy, like that's a big deal. Like, it feels like he got jumped. It didn't feel like he had signed up to fight 3 players who weren't even on the court. It's ridiculous.
So
It
they're
can't happen.
players. So there was other players
There were other players, but they weren't in the game from Georgia.
Okay.
And they were waiting for him with apparently a security guard who they said was also on the fight. I mean, it seems like a wild video. And again, this is really setting up next week when we have this footage.
Yeah.
And or 2 weeks and or whatever. Or Turkey leaves the basketball tournament.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, also, like, if the video does come out and it escalates things more, it's like, do you want to risk more, like, another player getting hurt? It's like, now we're talking, like...
No, I think that I think no matter what, everybody knows that can't happen. I don't think there's any chance Turkey's like, we want red. I think Turkey's going to be like, they should be... Every single player who attacked him should be banned from any European basketball. Mm-hmm. And that's... it, and everybody has to apologize, and maybe Georgia is kicked out of the tournament this year, but like
guys that were on the team that jumped the guy who's in the NBA, none of those guys are in the NBA.
I don't believe so. We would have known their names if it was somebody from the NBA. I think, at this point, it seems.
Are there other NBA players on the Georgian team?
I have no clue. I'd have to do research on such a thing. And this is where a researcher would help.
Yeah.
But I would never expect that kind of question to be asked.
Oh, we're talking about things off the court.
That's like an A to X question. I just would never have thought you would go there.
I like to really, think about it.
But there's other basketball. I mean, Giannis is in this tournament. Luka Doncic is in this tournament. There's real NBA players.
For some reason, my brain, just dumb comment, I was like, Giannis Pappas is playing in that.
Yeah, Giannis Pappas is.
No.
Who's that?
He's a comic.
He's a comedian.
Very funny.
Oh, that's funny.
Very funny comedian.
Very funny.
Who is not an NBA player in look or stature or in any way.
No.
That feels offensive, but I'm sure it's not. It's very hard.
I think he would agree.
Everybody,
of a
I
basketball player.
I mean, it's
Sure.
Gary Goldman might be the only comedian who is legitimate.
Rick Glassman, I've heard, is
Yes,
very
well,
can,
Rick Glass-
can very play.
Yes, Rick Glassman. I mean, the rumors are is that Rick Glassman is insanely competitive,
Intense in the
to a degree that I a full person never play in the game.
We played golf last week.
Jess did play golf for the first time.
For the first time?
No, it was the second time.
Okay.
The first time was in San Diego that time.
Yeah.
So this with comics in San Diego. This time was with Kyle and Joey, I guess. So there was a comic besides you.
Oh, for wedding stuff.
No.
Oh.
No, it was just for fun.
No, nice.
And I actually really enjoyed it.
We can play more.
I mean, they're a fun group.
I even made contact.
She did make contact most of the time, and
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It felt big.
golf is really a sport where it's probably the one I'm always like, you need to do a 3-day weekend with a trainer. Like, I think that's the way I tell everyone to do is like if you're really I want to play golf, let's really do golf as a couple. I would say do a 3-day thing on your own where you take lessons. In 3 days, you will become competent enough, and then we can really start playing.
But I just and I guess this is probably why other people like golf, but it's you can just chat. It's you're doing an activity, but you're also just hanging out.
Oh, you
That's
can
fun.
drink and smoke while doing it.
Yeah. I play disc golf, and it's the same thing. It's just that fun, casual.
I can't throw a frisbee to save my life.
I love
I couldn't at
frisbee.
first, but once you learn the tricks, it's so it's fun. You get sore for sure, but it's cool. Because I started doing it when I was living in the Bay Area for a little bit, and you play in Golden Gate Park, and there's all the trees, so it's very beautiful. I find it relaxing as well because it's the same thing. You walk around, you drink, you smoke, and you just buck around.
There was where I went to college, there was the frisbee golf team or whatever. They were very, very intense, and there was some sort of and they were, obviously not I don't know, it was an intramural team, but they were really, really big. What?
Yeah. I don't think they offer. I don't think.
No, I know, but
Scholarships.
But I will say,
but
with that said, frisbee golf is having a moment. Mm-hmm. They're making a real run. There was that hole-in-one shot that went super viral last year that I feel caught a lot of people's eyes, and everybody was like,
well,
frisbee golf. What are
I
we doing
mean, to go to Skidmore, which is not sports centric really at all. Mm-hmm. This was this was a team that everybody was the Wombats or whatever. Mm-hmm. And when I was a freshman, I guess something happened that there was something that happened. I mean, I guess I know because I was part of the committee that had to sanction them. Mm-hmm. and we had to like sanction them to be like they couldn't play for like 4 years or whatever.
Whoa, what
Whoa.
happened?
There was like I don't know, but I was like nominated as like a student to be on the.
What happened? 4 years?
4 years?
Was there like a hazing incident?
Something happened at another college.
It had to be like a hazing or like a party. Like
to be a
It was
something,
a party. It was a party.
yeah, something that was outside of school guidelines.
And
even.
multiple players on the team are involved.
Yes.
Dude,
And so they were like they had to be disbanded.
why would the team be? You know, it's like
but
one
the
person.
disc golf team.
Yeah, doggity.
Taping off.
Yeah, I think it just stopped and then it
Great.
for a second. But I just hit re-record, so we're good.
Did you hear it go off?
No, isn't that so fun?
I love that.
Yeah.
Once I get through this PR thing, we gotta invest.
Into
You and
game.
I.
I'm already researching right now.
Yeah, we gotta do it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know when we lost that story.
I think it was only like on this. It was like the last 30 seconds or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so anyway, I had to be part of this team that like this committee that disbanded a very, very big deal team on my college campus. And that was a nightmare.
That's tough.
And I felt very guilty about it for years. I mean, and then I think they came back the year after I was gone because I was a freshman. So they couldn't be there like the whole time I was there.
Yeah, that must have been
And then they became like underground.
rogue.
Oh,
team.
that's even more hilarious.
Well, that's the thing because it was like the Frolf team.
Yeah, no, but I mean, they must have done something so bad.
Frolf?
Yeah, that's what they call it. Frolf.
That's how.
Frisbee golf. Frolf.
I do feel like I've heard that before.
Oh.
You play and you don't know the term for your sport?
Well, disc golf is like if you say frisbee, people are like disc, but the word frolf is hilarious to me.
Oh my
Sounds
God.
like someone vomiting.
I'd be curious.
Sure.
I'd be curious if it's a loved term by the people who do it, but I have heard it from us outsiders. We
Okay.
might refer to you as frolfers.
Yeah. And then I was referred to at college as a
Narc?
NARP,
Oh.
non-athletic regular person.
Oh. I thought narc because you suspended
Oh.
people.
Yes, and you suspend people for 4 years, their entire college experience.
No, I guess that could have worked as well in the story, considering. But no, a non-athletic regular person.
That's like when comedians used to call people citizens who aren't.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
And I'm always like, no.
Or what? Yeah.
Civilians.
Civilians.
Yeah, that's right. Civilians.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, General. Are we serving right now?
Yeah.
I like to call people lay people. Like I refer to myself as non-comics as like us lay people.
The problem is you get so the community is so much becomes your entire community that it is like when I'm just hanging out with somebody who isn't involved in comedy in any way, it is like unique.
Yeah, one person not as much, but like when I'm if I'm in a setting like say me and my girlfriend go somewhere and it's all non-comedians. Sometimes it takes me a second to adjust to the energy because usually when I'm in a group it's around all these people that like do the same thing.
Yes, we have such a shared. Well, you have a shared. I don't want to say trauma, but we have this shared like.
It's
But it's like but you because you weren't part of this part, but like this shared like first 2 to 4 years of like.
And that's not more offensive than calling me a citizen.
You weren't there for that part. You weren't there when I was starting.
Oh, okay.
That's a factual statement.
I don't even like people who are like not part of comedy, like they'll never understand it.
No, you literally weren't there when I was starting. So you
Yes,
didn't,
no, for sure.
You never saw me be bad. You never saw. Every comic has this years where they just are bad, and you're doing it every night, and you're bad, and you continue to be bad, and you're just bad, and you're bad at it, and you're bad, and that's a very not fun time. And so we all have that experience of like, anytime someone's like a comic and they're remotely good. I'm like, oh, they must have worked so hard. I know that we have this shared work.
Yeah, and what I love about that too is like now it's at the point like for me I feel like I'm finally at the point where like I'll have a bad moment every now and then, but for the most part like I do well.
Well, I tell people I'm always like, your scale of bombing and success shifts over time.
Yeah.
So it's like now when I say I bomb, it's like it's fine. Like I don't minus the teen shows at the Improv. I do not bomb.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. And then you know the nice part about that is though is that now you're in a community with people that you've been doing it with. That when that you like because when you're starting out when you bomb, it feels like everybody like now that's their opinion of you. But now if you bomb, like you're with these people and they're like, yeah, whatever. It happens to all of us. It's so funny.
A comic last night, who I guess I won't say it, but he's a great comic who just had like a meh set. But this is somebody who I've never seen have a meh set. He had a meh set, and it was awesome to see him struggle a little bit.
Well, we all know what my favorite shows of Danny's are, right?
Anytime I screw up, she loves it.
Love. There are 2 times in particular. There was one time he was standing on the stage and it like did not go all the way back to where the wall was behind him. So he like took a step back, and you know when you like think there's another stair and you're like go down. It's like Danny kind of had that experience of like stepping down, but he like didn't fall but thought he was falling.
It's that thing of like when you I just drop.
There's a gap in the stage. Yeah.
But in your mind, you're like, I'm falling for the rest of my life. Like it was the longest amount of time, and I definitely let out a yelp.
Yes, and it was so funny.
Since we restarted these, I mean, there's really, I mean, we like just out of curiosity because there's no time crunch, I guess. Because now, like, because I live with my girlfriend. So what shows, like, what draws you to go to? Because you've seen him so many times. What draws you to go to a show that he's doing?
Oh, that's a good question. It tends to be like other people on the lineup.
Hilarious, because my girlfriend is the same way.
Yes.
She'll go.
What was your comment?
I was going to say usually it's the stuff around the show. So other comics, I also think like an interesting place, you know, like you know, a restaurant nearby that we can go to before and after. Like you kind of build dates around a show, and the show is kind of the least important part for Jess.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the show is tolerated as a way to get to go to things, which is cool. It's cool. We go out more than most couples, and that's nice because of that.
Yeah, there are definitely like there are criteria for a show that like I consider. One of them is the distance. I like a long car ride. So like
that's shocking to hear.
Oh,
so the further the car ride, the more likely it is I'll go. So like I go to a lot of Danny shows in like San Diego or like
that's fun. That's also
Oxnard or whatever. Like I like to do the road trips. And so that's a higher likelihood. Then 2 is like who else is on the show, because if Danny's like I would rather like talk to somebody or whatever. And then
that's the big one for my girlfriend. Yeah. Like the other day I had a show. I was like, hey, I'm doing a don't tell. And she's like, cool, have fun. And I was like, Audrey Stewart's on it. And she's like,
tempting.
Yeah.
Audrey's fun.
Yeah, like
one of my girlfriend's favorite people on the planet. She's like, if she's at a
I like her actually, yeah. But yeah, like that's big. And then like I feel like it's somewhat of like the location, but like in terms of like what's around it, but it's so it's like rare though that we can really figure out timing wise to go to a restaurant. So they're like Santa Monica, like there are some restaurants that are open late. Like there's one that we like that's open still at like 10 o'clock, but like a lot of other, so I'll likely go to like, and I like West Side. It depends and it depends where there's space for me to sit, because I do not want to sit in the audience ever.
So that's true.
So I like to sit either in the green room.
Which I usually am anti. I'm anti non-comics in the green room as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah,
I think that is a safe place for comedians, and even you.
But if there are people that I'm friends with that are going to be there, that's fine to me.
If sometimes you're in a green room and you're like, oh, we're all doing the like,
but I never the West Side green room. No, there's nobody else is ever in there.
Yeah, every now and then there's some, but
I've never seen a non-comic in
sometimes they'll be there, and I'm always like, this isn't your place. Like, be somewhere else. But that's me.
But that's West Side. Like West Side, I don't mind, because I then sit at the stools or I sit at the bar and then like just. Hang out with the bartender and stuff, but
like improv where like there's really no safe space, there's no place to be, there's kind of that booth in the back, which like
I like the booth but that's where the other comics are. Usually.
I just don't. Improv is always one that I'm like, in the lab, I mean, there's no place for you to go.
No. The lab is tough.
The lab is tough. Lab Factory is a really good place to hang, but I barely go there anymore. But the Lab Factory was
the upstairs,
a great hang spot for significant others.
Yeah.
But it matters the place.
Matters there. Lots of, and it also, but I like to go. Like I like to have something to do.
But I feel like right now it's an exciting period for you, because I have I have like a lot of new stuff. So it's like you're not bored by the old material.
That's true. Well, but so then it's like twofold, because it's fun to see you do really, really well, but that's when I know the jokes really well also. So it's like so like if we're going back to the bombing thing, like the relative Danny not doing as well is like when it's a newer joke, and that is like less. I like to hear the new material as it's being worked out, but then like just as like as the partner of somebody who's like going on stage, it's like kind of like cooler to be with somebody who's killing it.
Sure.
Fair.
You know?
Yes. The other night in particular, I struggled a little bit. With all
But
the
like
stuff.
not, but like not even.
In
but
my
like,
relative scale, but yes,
right,
it's like
yeah.
in my scale, I definitely struggled. The point here is, Furkan Korkmaz got attacked backstage.
Yes. Sorry for straying us away.
And no, it was great. It was a great conversation.
Honestly, I think these are
This
fun.
was supposed to be a short episode, and look what happened.
I know. Yeah.
Because the crew.
I could keep
Hey.
chatting.
I know you could, Jess. But we got to wrap it up.
Why? No? Do you have any other questions?
I'm going to wrap it up. Oh, hey, during this break in the action, I have nothing else to say. I just want to give us a break in the action. Thank you for watching. Keep subscribing, rating. All right, let's go back. And we're back. Jess
Yes.
and Noah. What an episode. Hey, the skeleton crew.
Look at us.
We told some stories. We shared some comedy behind the scenes. We very rarely talk comedy on this podcast as a rule of thumb. And yet, Jess, you got us there.
Well, to be fair, as yet again, this was me asking the question. I
No,
take
I
full
like it.
blame.
I
but
like
I
it.
think it's interesting.
I think that we stick to the thesis of this show enough, and when we do talk comedy, it's allowed.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like it was just more of like someone who's not in comedy,
That's
their
the thing.
relationship
I
to
think
comedy.
that's interesting. So I used to, I want to do a podcast that's like literally the wives of comics or comedian, like whatever, like because our lives are so specific and funny and like I don't know. It's like
Well, there's a real camaraderie of like
Yeah.
the spouses
Yeah.
of comedians and just like the schedule and the weirdness and the kind of coolness and then the kind of
well, a lot of it's this. A lot of
Yeah,
it's
and then the
schedule.
I don't know where they are everness
Yeah.
of like,
Oh my God, yes. Like literally there was one time where I was in New York hanging out like with my mom, and Danny was in Canada and he was like doing a show, and because I was in New York, I was like, I don't know, he's in Canada. My mom was like, so where's Danny's show? In Canada. And I was like, in Canada. And she was like, well, but like where? And I was like, I don't know. I think I think Vancouver. And I think it's Vancouver or on that coast because I don't think his flight was as long as my flight. And like I had no idea really. And my mom was like, "You don't know where Danny is?" I was like, "Mom, if I had to know where Danny was every single night and every weekend, I couldn't be doing this."
Yeah.
It's like I had no clue. And then she was like, "You don't have your locations turned on?" And I was like, "No, we don't have our locations turned on." But then I found out we do have our locations turned on because you tracked me from my marathon and you never turned it off. Or I never turned it off.
hero.
I mean, I think it's stupid and I would happily turn it off if you want me to, but you like that I have it on.
Yeah.
You like that I can track you. I will never be tracked.
Because I do run by myself, and so like if
Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, that's a good reason to have it.
yeah.
But bringing it back to sports, she runs, so to have it
See?
on.
Runs.
And no, she's an actor.
Once we're out of this heat wave, I would love to run again.
Actor's girlfriend.
Yeah, me too.
My running buddy is not a comics ex-girlfriend, but a actor ex-girlfriend.
Yes. Jess, is there anything you'd like to plug besides your podcast that'll never happen?
Okay, wait, but you want to know what I want to call it? Can you take our picture? Because people ask me.
Yeah,
and
that's actually a great name for that.
Thanks. Because yeah, like we would be. Somebody comes up to Danny. So we were at the airport one time, and I'm like, somebody's chatting, like whatever, and I'm like, would you like me to take your picture? And
Can we take a picture? That's a good one.
yeah,
Your picture. So that might come at some point.
that's nothing. But if you want to see it,
It could happen.
if you're interested, I have other gals that are interested in co-hosting with me.
I'm very sportive. We have all the equipment.
That's so true. No, you want another part-time gig as a
Absolutely.
podcast producer?
No, anything you'd like to plug?
Check me out on socials. I can plug this now because it was finally announced. October 14th and 15th.
I heard that.
For what reason?
Gotta change these cameras.
I know.
Can't live this life anymore.
Oh, it's because the camera overheated. But while we're doing that, you know what?
Now, are we catching this on your camera the whole time?
This right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so when we do the thing, I could just use that camera.
Well, sure. I'm more so excited about the fact that people are seeing what it's like when the camera goes out.
Yeah, you guys are seeing the panic.
This is what happened.
Which camera's out? Not that one though.
No, yours is fine.
Oh.
But I am not on camera at the moment.
No, yeah, the host and creator of this podcast is currently not on camera. But yeah, it'll just need a. It'll
But he's
just need
here
a second.
every week, so it's all right.
Yeah, but
cares?
I can announce it. I'm in Dunlap, Iowa for the Fun Lap Comedy Festival, October 14th to 15th. So
Hate
that'll
the
be
name,
fun.
but I love the festival and I love that you're in it.
It's their
That's
first one.
fun.
It'll be super fun.
Lap.
Yeah, it's the first festival I'm doing ever, so it'll be a good time.
Is your
So-
girlfriend going?
No, but going back to that, there is
Yeah.
one she wants to go to because it's fun. I haven't been so this might just be bad news if I don't make it in, but they're having one in Salem, Massachusetts, and she's very witchy and she likes all of that stuff. So she wants to go with me if I get accepted to that festival.
That's fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another one where I'm like, oh yeah, if it's
because she could do spooky stuff.
love that.
Spooky stuff.
Love spooky stuff.
I love that. Well, for me, and you'll be looking at Jess while we do this, but for me...
Nope. And you're back.
Oh, I'm back.
Whoa.
16th through 18th, I am in Telluride for the Blues and Brews Festival. It's mostly blues musicians, but then also a couple comedians.
Fun.
It's going to be great.
I won't be there.
Early October, I will be in New York City, and we'll maybe be doing a longer set there.
Okay, you can follow me on Instagram at Jess
We already
Jolles.
had your chance.
I know, but I
You
forgot
did
that I
your
do
thing
have.
already.
I know, but I forgot that I have an Instagram. It's at Jess Jolles.
Great job. And now,
If you want, if you're
And now-
interested. I post lots of nice
we'll do
wedding
3
photos.
shots of glory for Jess.
Yes. Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
As you see, she's very excited. This is the first shot. As you listen online.
Damn.
Way off.
Really far off.
So bad for the first one.
I mean, as someone who knows this game, unacceptable.
I mean, she has shot this ball 700 times.
I know. That's bad. I just feel like honestly my positioning is not great. Okay.
Closer.
Okay. Better.
Closer. This is the final shot. This is the one. You hate to see it happen.
Oh my god.
Threw it like a ball.
Wait, let me just do a fourth just because.
Will be.
Oh,
See you next week.
You're a number 1 fan, so you know the stats. Heard all the pundits talking, so you know enough of that. Maybe it's time to hear some crazy folks chat about all the other stuff that's behind the net. But maybe you don't care about playing ball, and you want to hear the gossip whether big or small. Maybe it's time to hear some funny folks talk about what goes on when the batter don't walk. Maybe you'd like to hear a little more. Maybe you don't even care about sports. Either way, go on and buckle up your shorts. Cause this is everything but the scores with Danny Jolles. Yeah, doggity.